Okay, let's unpack this. We're taking a deep dive today into a really striking modern rug collection.
Oh, yeah. Which one?
It's one that uses simplicity, just really basic forms to make quite a powerful statement. We're talking about the Topo collection.
Topo.
And our source material, all the info, comes straight from Tappeti.it. That's actually where you can explore these pieces yourself later on.
And Topo is fascinating because it brings together the designer, Mark Morrow's, very distinct vision.
Right.
With Nanimarquina's, their established reputation for contemporary rugs that still feel rooted in tradition.
Nanimarquina really has that blend down. And Morrow's philosophy, the description mentions it, zeroes in on honesty, doesn't it?
Honesty, yeah, and a kind of radical austerity. Mm-hmm. He's searching for these foundational, almost archetypal forms. Forceful but harmonious.
Right, so it's not about being complex or overly sophisticated, it's about getting down to the absolute essential. So our mission for this deep dive is, well, to understand the style, look at how it's made the technical side, and really figure out what gives Topo its unique appeal.
Absolutely. And at its core, Topo is almost like a philosophical exploration, but using geometry and color. It comes from this deliberate step back to the elemental things.
Yeah, the building blocks of design.
Mm-hmm.
And the visual statement is incredibly bold, but it's achieved through such a simple move. It's defined entirely by just one large circle.
One circle, yeah. But positioned deliberately, right at the very edge of the rectangular rug.
Okay, so why is that positioning so critical? Putting it right on the edge.
Well, that's where the tension comes in. That's the interesting part. Placing it off-center, almost precariously at the boundary, it transforms the rug.
Yeah.
It stops being just a static object. It actively interacts with the space around it, defines it.
Creates a kind of dynamic energy.
It does. It draws your eye, makes you sort of reconsider the whole room.
It's like it's playing with the idea of a rug's shape and where it belongs. The sources mention you can see it different ways, like is it a focal point or maybe a quiet visual refuge?
Exactly. Or even just a graphic pause on the floor. That simple form allows for all these interpretations, depending on how you place it, the furniture around it.
Right.
And its graphic punch is definitely heightened by the limited color palette.
Yes, the colors. It's just one dominant color against that raw, undyed wool background, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Black, green, and red versions.
So you get that real pop against the natural texture.
You do. And that bold monochromatic element makes the collection, well, perfect for modern spaces, minimalist, maybe even Scandinavian-inspired settings.
Where those clean lines and strong graphics are really valued.
Exactly. The rug becomes this grounding anchor in the room.
Okay, so that's the visual impact. How did they actually make this? Let's talk technique.
Right. So these are kilim rugs. That means they're meticulously hand-woven on looms.
Kilim, okay.
And the key thing about the kilim technique is that the warp and weft threads, they're tightly interlaced, but there are no knots involved.
So that creates a flat rug, lightweight. Does that affect durability or say how easy it is to care for?
Yes, exactly. Kilim usually results in durable flat rugs, easier to maintain than thick pile rugs.
And the material 100% hand-spun Afghan wool. What's special about using that specific wool?
Afghan wool is chosen for its natural waviness, its inherent robustness. It gives the rug this beautiful, slightly irregular texture. Feels really authentic.
So it has character.
Definitely. And it even develops more character over time.
And despite being hand-loomed, flat-woven, the density is pretty high, 48,000 yards per square meter, the specs say. And they're very thin, only 4 millimeters thick.
Yeah, very thin.
That flat profile really reinforces the modern, clean look, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And it makes them versatile, too. You can put them under furniture easily that work in high traffic areas, not really a tripping hazard.
Practical. And they come in a decent range of standard sizes.
Yep, several options. 170 by 240 centimeters, 200 by 300, 250 by 350, and even a large 300 by 400 centimeters.
So you can find one for different room sizes, from maybe a study to a big open plan living area.
For sure. There's flexibility there.
So stepping back a bit, what this Topo collection really shows us, I think, is how a rug can be so much more than just, well, something on the floor.
It really is. It's a deliberate piece of design. It explores the power of essential forms.
Using that single, simple gesture, the off-center circle.
Right, that one move.
Yeah.
It actively creates that visual tension we talked about, and it helps redefine the space it's in.
It's a really compelling blend, isn't it? Traditional hand-looming craft meets this very contemporary, almost radical search for archetypes.
Well put.
And these rugs, they really do have the potential to transform a room. They can be that striking focal point or just a sort of serene graphic interruption. Handwoven, perfect for modern minimalist settings.
Yeah, you can imagine them working beautifully in those kinds of spaces.
It makes you think, consider how rediscovering the beauty of the essential, like we see in Topo, could maybe change the feel of your own living space.
It does raise that question, doesn't it? How much can one single, really thoughtful design element influence how we experience a whole room?
Something to think about. So, to discover the entire Nanimarquina Topo collection, see the colors, the sizes, and explore the possibilities for your own home.
We definitely invite you to visit Tappeti.it.
Check it out on Tappeti.it.